evening, welcome. It's Monday night, it's the Fanzone show. My name's Phil. We're live for the next 30 minutes. If you're watching this live, of course, get your views in, get your comments in, and we'll chat about what you want to chat about. Do you want to talk about transfers? Do you want to talk about the new shirt? Do you want to talk about pre-season starting and the players getting back to training today? What do you guys want to talk about? It's Leicester City, it's your show. Don't forget, you can follow us at Leicester Fan TV on any social media channel. We're totally free, we're totally here. It's Fans Views by you. Join us for the next 30 minutes.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content, like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live. Thanks to our sponsors, Everards, Barlow Blinds, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Distillers Direct, Hollogram, Take Me, Newby Co, and the Foxes, Arms and Rainbows. We are live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, welcome. We want your views, we want your comments. Let us know what it is you want to talk about here tonight on Leicester Fan TV. Don't forget, if you can, drop us a like, give us a share, subscribe to us if you're watching on YouTube. That would be great. But we want your views. I want to know what you want to talk about tonight. It's a fan zone show. We always talk about what it is you want. Richie, good evening. Hope you're well. We're going to get as many comments on screen as possible. Ian, yes, good evening to you. Clibo1 on YouTube, good evening to you, says, how many signings needed? How many signings are we going to need this season? Is Ndidi going to sign? Is he going to stay? Rumours of Tom Cannon going to Stoke. There's all sorts. The rumour mill is in full flow there. Nick Ball, good evening. Matt Bond, hope you're well. Watching from Italy. Whereabouts in Italy are you, Matty, tonight? Hope you're having a good one there. Andy says, rumours Cannon's going out on loan, so probably a striker. Yes, the rumours I'm hearing about Cannon is going to Stoke. Listen, he didn't really, Andy, get into that Leicester team, did he, last season? So you sort of think, well, if he didn't get in the Championship, okay, Enzo's gone and Cooper's in, but is he going to make it into the Premier League? Surely it's going to be Jamie Vardy leading the line, maybe with Daka in there. Dorco, good evening, says, new shirts are expensive. I have to work over 6 hours to earn enough to buy one. What do you think to the new shirt? Do you like it? I kind of like. Does it look any different to any of the shirts from the last 10 years? Really, apart from the sponsor, which you can debate whether you like the sponsor's logo, their ethics, whatever it is. Listen, it sounds like the club's sold some sponsorship to make money, and we all know we need money at the moment. Richie says, give Cannon a chance. We're going to dodge all over the place tonight. That's how we do it. You get your views in. Good evening, Wayne. Hope you're well. Matty answers me and says, I'm in Rimini working. Tough assignment, mate. Oh, but it's nice. Have you got a beer yet? What would you be drinking out there? Oh, beautiful. Beer Moretti, maybe? I don't know. Down there in Rimini. Let us know. Michael says, no, not Daka. I think Daka could work next season if Cooper swings it around and plays a little bit counter-attacking football. Chris Mobbs, good evening. I know Chris very, very well. How's Corrine? Wednesday night, a big night for you, Chris. England against Holland. Who you support? Chris, you've got to be supporting England, but Chris lives out there in Holland, so it's going to be a big night for that for the English lads in there. Reedy says going to bring the shirt into work tomorrow for you all to have a see. I look forward to it. Reedy's got it already. He's a super fan down there as soon as the shop was open. Ben Morgan says, would have liked to try Cannon in a number 10 behind a main striker in a 4-4-1-1. It's interesting, Ben. I don't think we're going to see much of Cannon next year. I wouldn't be surprised if actually he did go out on loan, or maybe we sold him. Steve is watching and says, so who's deciding the ins and outs? Do you think Cooper has a say? Yes, I think he probably will have some sort of say, but Cannon could be ideal for Cooper, Steve says, who seems to do well with the younger players in there. Let's get Locks in. He's joining us now live. I'm going to add Locks in. Good evening, Locks. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Good, yes, good. Locks tonight, I want to get as many comments on screen as possible. Let's start. Andy Medhurst says sponsorship is worth 31 million to Leicester. This is the rumour that's going around for 2 years, Locks. Give me your gut reaction to the new shirt, mate.
I like it. I like it. The kit or the sponsor. Obviously, the sponsor is a different story. I think completely. Look, I actually don't care about the sponsor. I understand where people coming from in terms of the ethics and people that have gambling problems and things like that. It's a debate that's been had for many of years. The Premier League are banning. I don't know if it's the EFL as well, but the Premier League are banning gambling sponsors in 2 years' time anyway. So that will be happening. But for now, mate, I think they've paid the big bucks to get their name on the front of the shirt, and it helps us with FFP. So I think it's a good thing for the club.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? I'm a little bit torn on the sponsorship thing. I mean, we've had Saigon, whatever beer on the side of the shirt for the last how many knows years. I mean, King Power themselves sell all sorts of stuff in duty free as well, but it is a bit of a strange one because it is gambling. So the Premier League have deemed that it isn't right for kids in particular to be looking at gambling. I don't know if you ever watched the Paul Merson documentary that he made, obviously with his gambling issues that he's had.
Yes.
I think he watched one Premier League game on TV and they counted, I think it was 600, 700 or 800 sponsorship moments to do with gambling across a whole of a match, which is pretty horrific.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's a sensitive subject. I think obviously it is getting banned, so the Premier League clearly don't agree with it. Like you said, Spate, with our sleeve sponsor, that's a beer, isn't it? It's a beer.
Yeah.
So, and people have problems with obviously alcohol addiction as well. So, I don't want to get into it too much, obviously, because it is sensitive. But at the end of the day, the club have made the decision clearly for the financial side of it. And as somebody put, it is reported 30 million quid. And if the sponsorships are being banned, the gambling ones in 2 years' time, you would imagine that's a 2-year deal, which is 15 million a season, which apparently makes that our highest ever shirt sponsor. So again, FFP, it helps us out on that side of things. So yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think the actual shirt, I've not seen it in real life yet, Locks. I don't know if you have. Reedy says he's going to bring one into the office tomorrow. I just look from the pictures to me like, oh, not that different to that one. Or, it just looked like an Adidas blue shirt with the Adidas logo, a little bit of a gold fleck.
Yeah, I know. You're old school, mate, though. You're old school, where they used to have a new shirt every 3 years or something like that. You know what I mean? Every 3 years. Again, mate, it's all money, right? They can release a new kit every year. They can get people to pay, because in 6 months' time, the kit will be probably on offer down to 30 quid. At the minute, it's, I think, 70. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be buying it in 6 months' time, mate. When there's I'll say the joke. When there's a relegation sale, mate.
Oh, Locks, come on. I know I've got to cheer you up. Matty Bod says, look, it's the same as. I know a lot of fans will say, look, as long as it's got some blue, it's got some white. There's not enough white for me, Locks. I am old school. It has to be white shorts. Leicester City is blue with white shorts. But people then go on to say Leicester have been most successful in a blue shirts and blue shorts type of era.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I don't mind. It's nice to change it up though, because it was blue last year, wasn't it? It was blue last year. Yeah, it was blue last year. So I actually like it when we switch it up, however often. So yeah, I would have liked to have seen white shorts this year, but I don't think the players care, mate. So
yeah, Steve says underwhelmed with the new kit. No doubt Adidas will have the same shirt minus the badge for 30 quid. Reedy says I like every part of the shirt other than the sponsor, but it don't look awful better than the green. When's the away kit out, second and third? God knows, Chris, that could be at any point. It could even be after the season started, knowing Leicester. That has happened before. And it could be any sort of colour. We've seen some interesting black and orange ones rumoured.
Yeah, I think the away kit's going to be white and the third kit's going to be black and orange. So, yeah.
Let's get on to some players in, players out. Locks, talk me through. I literally have been away for the weekend and I haven't seen much. And it's just like the world of Leicester City seems to have exploded, not just new shirts, but players coming in. What's been some of the highlights for you?
Well, obviously, the two confirmed are Bobby de Cordova-Reid and Michael Golden. Michael Golden, obviously, we've known since the Dewsbury Hall deal kind of was happening that he was going to be coming. Dare Cordova-Reid was, it's a mouthful. Dare Cordova-Reid was a kind of a surprise, really. I think it came out of nowhere. And then, yeah, obviously we've got this Italian centre back on the way, apparently Accoli. So we'll see if I mean, that looks like it's going to be done. It's just obviously the announcement. And then the only other one which we know will be happening is Fatawu. And again, it's just taking their time. You know, it's pre-season. Pre-season began today, or, you know, the pre-season training. Yeah, why is he there? Is he not?
Well, yeah.
Is he? Well, they haven't really, as far as I'm aware, they showed a video of them arriving, but haven't shown anything of the actual training. So maybe Fatawu was there and they don't want to share it yet. Maybe they're waiting for an announcement. I don't know. And then the latest news that came yesterday, I think, or rumor, was Matt O'Reilly from Celtic.
Yeah, Andy Downing's talking about that one. Yeah, but Brighton apparently have had a bid, haven't they? I know Patrick's saying 50 million rejected for him.
I don't think 50 million's been rejected.
Yeah,
well, I don't know.
I've heard that one.
You have
that one.
Yeah. As soon as that was rumored, I thought there's no chance, because I mean, he scored like 14, 15 goals for Celtic this season from midfield. You're looking at over 30 million, I think. So there's no way we're going to be spending that on a player. So I don't think that will happen.
Yeah,
Callum O'Hare as well. Rumor.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about him last week from Coventry. At the end of it, I said I'd go fetch him because he's on a free. I think he looks a young, hungry Championship player. We saw the best of him against us last season. Literally played ever so well against us. And sometimes for me, Locks, when you see a player like O'Hare have that game against you, that's, for me, is one of the best ways of almost judging what a player's like. Because you go, well, you know, maybe that was his best ever game. I don't know, but I get a bit out of him every week like that. I like what I see from O'Hare, and he's free.
Yeah, well, I think the free part is the bit that makes me want to get him. If he wasn't free, I wouldn't have wanted him. And the reason, you know, people are comparing him to Maddison just because he's from Coventry and whatever, and probably a bit arrogant like Maddison. But, you know, I don't think he laces Maddison's boots, if I'm honest. He's 26, I believe, 25, 26. You know, he's probably coming up to or in his prime right now. I think some like 6 or 7 goal contributions for Coventry this year. He's quite injury prone. If the numbers in the squad allow it, which I think they probably would, because we've lost a few and then we'll be wanting to sell a couple, I'm sure, as well. If the numbers allowed it, then we could get him in. I wouldn't have a problem with that on the free, but I don't think he'd be a starter, and I don't think he's good enough to be a starter for us in the Premier League. I just think it would be solely squad depth. And if that's the case, maybe he picks a Leeds United, you know, a Burnley, someone higher up in the Championship maybe to go to where he'll play more minutes. But I just can't see him playing that many for us.
Loads of questions coming in. Keep them coming in. I'm trying to get as many on screen and we'll try to react to some. Joe says here they'll put the Fatawu news out after the points deduction simply to pep the fans. But do we know when the points deduction, as and when it's going to come out, Locks?
Well, the reason it's going to be delayed is because we're fighting it. I don't know why we're fighting it. It's, you know, it's a waste of time in my opinion, but they're doing what they can. You know, I've seen people say that it will be. I've seen a couple of experts say that it will be. We'll hear the news before the season starts, which is 5 weeks away. But then I've heard others say, you know, if we're fighting it and all of this, it might go on into the season. I reckon we'll hear before the season starts. I think we'll get slapped with a deduction, and then we'll probably appeal that, which will then go on a bit longer. And when I say appeal, I mean maybe try and get less points deducted. You know, if we're slapped with 10 before the season starts, maybe we'll try and get it down a couple. I don't know, but I think we'll hear something soon.
Yeah. Michael says these are the types of off seasons where investment in facilities help massively with signing new players. Yeah, he's referring back to obviously Seagrave and what you can see up there. Stephen says Schmodix for me, the Blackburn sort of number 10. He had a fantastic season, golden boot in the Championship, but maybe I don't know.
I think they want 15 million for him. And for me, I mean, some people might be happy with that. He's 28, 29. In my opinion, it's a one-season wonder. You know, people said that about Vardy once upon a time, but he hadn't really got anywhere near the contributions he did any other season. Any other season in his career, he never hit that number. Never.
But he's not a striker.
No, of course not. I get that. I get that. But the reason people are like, oh my God, is because of his numbers from midfield, from a false 9 or a 10 position. But 28 years old, haven't people been arguing to stop these types of signings, spending big money
I don't
on
know,
older
28,
players?
29. I mean, Kieran Dewsbury's just been sold for 30 million and, he's 26.
I think there's better investments for 15 million quid, personally. I think.
Yeah,
but
indeed. Andy can pulls us back to Ndidi. Again, the season ended and quite quickly we got Vestergaard and Vardy sort of lined up and said, yeah, we're going for it. Ndidi, the lack of news either way makes me think he might stay.
Well, I've just heard that he had talks with Sevilla and but it hasn't happened because they wouldn't pay the wages he wants, which makes you wonder what we've offered him, if I'm honest, which is a bit scary. I doubt we've offered him a pay cut. We've probably offered him the same, if not a bit more. And, he's been here a while now. He's probably on a decent wedge. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I know, but that was a free signing. We didn't pay 15 million for Cambiasso, did we?
No, and he also was highly proven already at the top level.
He had won the Champions League, yeah.
I've got 2 questions here for you, Locks. Chris says, Daka has to go. He'll never be a Premier League player. I would agree with Chris, but I'm prepared, especially if Cooper plays a little bit of defensive counter-attacking football, which I think he might, with Vardy and Daka sprinting through. I'm prepared to give Daka one more go in the Premier League if he was given the right balls through.
Well, yes. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to buy him. That's the problem. And so I think we're stuck with him anyway. He's on like 60 or 70 grand a week at Leicester. What club is going to give him those wages? And the transfer fee, we'd probably want, we're never going to get anywhere near what we paid. But, even you'd think the club would want maybe 10 million for him at least. And we ain't going to get that as either, in my opinion. So I think we're going to be stuck with him. So maybe Cooper, Cooper will have to see what he can do with him. If you look at counter-attacking, then yeah, I suppose, but what help does that give you when he can't put it in the back of the net? I know he scored some goals last season, but we saw how many sitters he missed. In my opinion, he can't be trusted in a season where you're going to need to be clinical. I don't think he can be trusted. I'd rather Cannon, which you've mentioned. I'd rather Cannon over Daka.
Yeah, rumours that Cannon's maybe off either on loan to Stoke or to be sold to Stoke. Well, he didn't really feature last season, did he? So
no, but he did all right when he was in there. I don't know what happened. He came in when Daka and Iheanacho were at African Cup of Nations, and he scored a few goals, and then that was it. We didn't see him again after that. So. We saw him on the wing, if you remember that, against, I think it was QPR or when we lost. So, yeah, it's a weird one. 6 million quid, 6 or 7 million quid we paid for him. I don't think we should sell him. If you are going to want him out the club this summer, I'd say loan at the very most. I wouldn't want him gone completely. I think he's definitely got some potential.
And again,
he's a different type of striker.
Listen, I like Cannon because I thought he was a bit more old school, and I think a Cannon with Daka, Cannon with Vardy was playing 2 up top. I know you can't believe such a thing ever existed, Locks, but yeah. 2 up top was a thing. Wayne says here, what about Sumere? Which again, I've written him off. I thought he was rubbish, but I am prepared with some of these players like Sumere, Daka, to maybe think, well, maybe Cooper can inject something new into them.
I think Sumari did okay at times. He was nowhere near at the level he needed to be, and consistency, I think, was the main problem. I think there's a player in there for sure. I think he's played quite a bit for, over in Spain. That was Seville as well, wasn't it? So there's a player in there. Whether Cooper, look, Cooper's got, this is where, he gets his hand on the squad now. From today, the preseason starting, he can assess the squad. He can see what he's got to work with. We'll be adding players to it. We'll be getting rid of some players. And along the same as well, mate, by the way, Christiansen, who Ben Morgan's mentioned, he's in the same boat, again, on loan out the club last season. I like Christiansen. Now that we are going to be playing with full backs or wing backs, now that Enzo's not here, I think he's a good player. I think he was the best out of the 3 that came in last season when we had Suter, Christiansen and Tete. They all had good moments, I suppose. But Christensen, I thought, was the most solid attacking fullback or wing back. Qualified for the Champions League this season with Bologna, and now they don't want to pay the money. So I reckon we make use of him, and I think he's a decent player. Young still, lots of potential. So I'm excited for him more than any of them, more than Samari. Christensen's the one that I hope stays around.
Christensen, when he came in, had a couple of really, really nice games, and I always like a fullback like Christensen who plays like that. It didn't work under Brendan Quite, and obviously under Enzo, there was literally people like him. I believe Luke Thomas is still a Leicester player. Christensen is still a Leicester player. Sumari is still a Leicester player. I'd love to know if these guys were there today. I assume that they were. Chris Ball, for me, sums up Sumari absolutely perfectly there with those words, lazy and slow. But, Chris, I still think maybe we can get a tune out of him. You never know. And again, we haven't got buckets full of money to throw around. So, Mark, this is Reedy says the same as Mark here. Sumer is a box-to-box for me, not a holding midfielder. I go back to what Chris said, slow and lazy. I don't see a box-to-box. Box-to-box midfielder is somebody like Paul Scholes or somebody who can, Frank Lampard, who's got that engine up, down, Steven Gerrard. But Sumari, I'm sorry, I didn't see that at all. Terry says here, Christensen will suit Cooper's style. I think he will. Ben says here, now the kid from Man City's gone back. Having him at left back could be good. Scott says Sumari reminds me more of Heskey. He's good at shielding the ball and heading the ball, but not a box-to-box midfielder in there. Ben says Sumari's crap. Well, I think we are definitely split there. Reedy says Rogers put Sumari in a defensive role, so he couldn't really put the energy.
I agree with the box-to-box comments. I'd like to see him in that role for sure. I'd like to see him. I know people call him lazy, but he was in a restricted role, I think, under Rodgers, especially towards the end, and he couldn't really do much. So I'd like to see him, look, all of them, Christensen, Sumari, I'd like to see them at least given a chance to see what they can do. And as I said, Cooper's got his hands on the squad now, and he can see, how they are. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. He'll have his say. He'll be speaking to the board and to Rodkin, unfortunately. Don't insult Husky. Yeah. Yeah, I
like that one. So, Locks. I'm beginning to think, Locks, you're starting to get excited about Super Cooper and this style of football.
No.
I think you're coming over to my side of thinking where it's going to be a little bit more defensive, a little bit more counter-attacking potentially, a little bit more cut and thrust.
I'm not excited for it.
You're going to be sat there like this, Locks, and then you're going to be like, oh. Or you could be just watching Enzo ball.
Come on, mate. Come on.
Hang on, what, Locks? I've got another 88 minutes of this.
Listen, mate.
He's gone now, Locks. I can take the Mickey all I like.
I know. I'm not excited. Yeah, look, we'll see what happens. I think I've accepted it now. Yeah, I've accepted it now just because. I mean, what can I do? You know what I mean? I had my 3 weeks of moaning. I don't think it's going to go very
moaning.
well.
You see, I think tonight you're not moaning. I think you're actually accepting it, like you say, which is the right way to be.
What can I do? What can I do? Yeah, I've got to accept it. But
the good bit with what we do, Locks, is you put it on record. You don't think it's going to work, which is fine. But then you've moved on and said, well, look, we deal with it. I said the same with Enzo. I said I was bored watching it, but I'll back him all the way.
Yeah. I mean, I like to flip flop anyway. So if we win 4 games on the trot, mate, I'll be saying he's the best. Yeah, there you go. I'll be saying he's the best manager ever, mate. But yeah, I can't see it happening. Again, it depends on who we sign. At this moment in time, with the squad we've got and the 2 new signings, I still don't think it's enough. I think it's going to be relegation. But that is quite heavily down to the points deduction. If we were starting on 0, the same as anyone else, I would fancy us to stay up. But with the points deduction, I don't give us a chance, unfortunately.
Well, it depends what that points deduction is, Locks, doesn't it?
But it's going to be people. I've seen some Leicester fans be a bit too hopeful, saying they think it's going to be 4 or 5 points. It's going to be more than that. I think it's going to be 10. Maybe more, 10, 11, 12, something like that. That's what I think it'll be. I'm not the Premier League Commission. I don't know. I don't have the inside scoop, but that's what, we've been told by a few people, a few experts, that it's going to be the biggest ever, and so far the biggest ever was Everton's 10 down to 8. So you think it's going to be 10. So we'll see.
I think, like you say, whatever it is, based on what's happened with Forest and Everton, you assume that with a little bit of back and forth, they'll reduce it maybe. So if it was 12, it might go down to 8 or 10.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Even if it's 10, you're going to need 50 points just to get that magic 40. So, which it's not been 40, it wasn't 40 last year, but this is a stronger season, mate. This is going to be a stronger one than last year. We ain't got Luton and we ain't got these farmers in the league anymore. Luton and Sheffield United, they ain't in the league anymore. We've got...
whoa. We ain't got farmers in the league. Literally got the tractor boys in the league. Come on.
Well, that's true.
Ipswich.
That is true.
They're the biggest farmer football team. I think they'll do all right, by the way.
But they're doing good business. They've just signed the winger from Hull, Philogene, and Jacob Greaves from Hull, who's a great left-sided centre-back. So they're doing business. And to be fair to the board, hands up, they are doing all right at the minute. With the signings they've made, I think Cordova-Reid is a good utility player, plays all across the front line. I think that's a good signing. So yeah, we'll see. We can't judge 100% yet until the window shuts, of course.
Yeah, Reedy says they're not spoke yet about Okoli. Have I said that right, Locks? Thoughts?
Okoli, yeah. Okoli, that sounds like some kind of disease, Phil.
It does. I've caught Okoli.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know too much. Look, from what I've seen, he's a young centre back. He's big. He's physical. But he's quite decent on the ball. He's kind of an attacking minded one. So he'll, like when we see Fass, how we've seen Wout Fass kind of get up the pitch sometimes, dribble with it a little bit, power his way through. So yeah, if you're spending what is meant to be 13 million quid on a centre back, you'd think he's going to be a starter. So we'll see. I don't know if you remember, Phil, when Enzo was sacked, or in that period between Enzo getting sacked and Cooper getting announced, I think Rob Tanner did an article where he actually said that the board had signings lined up already. So it does make me wonder which of these signings were lined up before Cooper was even in the picture. Has Cooper had any say on these signings? I'm not sure. So that's quite important to remember as well. You remember Connor Cody. Connor Cody was not an Enzo Maresca signing. He was not an Enzo Maresca signing. It was just before. And look what happened to him. He barely played last season. So same with Tom Cannon. I know Tom Cannon was late on, but apparently Enzo's preferred choice was the player who's been scoring for Georgia all summer, in the Euros. And that never happened. And we were left with Tom Cannon. So yeah, it all depends on the players that Cooper wants and which ones we get and all of this stuff. It's hard to say at the minute. Nico on the left.
37. COVID squad number 20. Yeah.
Not COVID-19. COVID-19.
Yeah, it's COVID-20. Listen, it's nice that things are starting to happen. And I think the mood, because it's been a strange summer with Enzo going and the points deduction looming, I get the feeling that Leicester fans are starting to dust themselves down and see signings coming in and thinking, I mean, Michael says here, no way Cooper doesn't sign players. He's the coach. Well, literally, Vestergaard was signed after when we had no manager. That's the proof, isn't it?
Cody.
Vestergaard.
Oh, the contract.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Vestergaard was signed and Enzo had gone and Cooper wasn't even on the radar. So what more proof do you need from the club that the manager isn't the guy signing the players? He's being given the players and saying managers, which is quite usual now, Locks, in a lot of Premier League clubs. It's the way it works. Yeah, that's it. A lot of clubs name their manager head coach now, not manager. There were rumours that was going to happen with Cooper, but it did. They whether they backtracked or whether it just was never the plan. They did then call him a manager. So you'd think, that these signings are his. We know that they gave a lot of power to Brendan Rodgers in the late stages, and we know how that turned out very badly. Enzo, you'd think maybe Harry Winks was an Enzo choice, and Mavididi or Fatu Hermanson definitely was an Enzo choice. So hopefully they are still giving the manager a choice. Because look, no matter what you think of Enzo, mate, the Hermanson was his choice, and it was the right choice with the way that we wanted to play.
And hopefully now Cooper has a little bit, not too much control, but a little bit of control. And we know he likes the younger players. Which probably makes me think that the Ebola,
you've gone now, haven't you?
Yeah, that was probably his side, and you'd think, just because of obviously youth and all of that. So
it really says here Ward keeping number 1 this season. He won't let that number go. I mean, squad numbers haven't been released yet. Ward Iverson, they've just got to be got rid of somewhere, but they probably won't be, and that's part of the problem, isn't it? Just they're on way too much money, and nobody's.
That's it.
Danny Ward's meant to be on 40k a week, and just didn't touch a ball last season, did he?
Yeah, look, you've got some players out there in the world that would take a pay cut to go and play football, and unfortunately, there are a lot that just wouldn't, and I think Danny Ward is probably one of them. He does. Why should I? He gets to go to a 5-star facility every morning, and hang out with his mates, and he gets paid however much, 50 grand a week, and why would he drop down and get paid 20 grand a week instead, and go to a tin shed for a training ground? I think he's happy where he is. So that is one of the problems.
The clue with Danny Ward, I'm not. This is no disrespect to his career, but I think I'm right in saying he spent a long time at Liverpool in their reserves, didn't he? Did he do 8, 9, 10 years at Liverpool? And he's come to Leicester, had a fleeting amount of appearances, and he must have been at Leicester 5 years now or something.
Yeah, and he gets called up to the Wales squad just because everyone else is terrible. So, so I think he's probably very comfortable how he is right now. He's probably not bothered about dropping down to, I don't know, where could he go? Maybe Swansea or somewhere, Cardiff, maybe like that, somewhere like that. I think he's fine at Leicester. So there we go. It's the whoever gave him the money. Whoever gave him the money, that's whose fault it is.
Well, we'd all do it, Locks. You'd do the same. I'd do it.
Well, we support Leicester, don't we?
Well, yeah, we're just football fans. That's why we say we wouldn't do it. But the reality was, if you were at a job which was really nice and you enjoyed it and it was a nice lifestyle and you're getting paid big bucks.
Well, I think he's
Yeah,
I'm just double checking. I think he actually, I know he started at Wrexham. I'm just looking at his place of birth is Wrexham, so he might be a Wrexham fan. Why don't you drop down there, Danny boy? Drop down there down to 10 grand a week, 5 grand a week. You know what I mean? And go and play for them. But I just don't think he will. I think he's happy. I think he's happy with the money he's got in, like I said, in the 5-star facility, which is Seagrave. I think he's happy there.
Brilliant. All right, Locks, thanks so much for joining us. You're going to buy a new shirt? You say you're going to wait till the price comes down?
The relegation sale, mate. The relegation sale.
You're going to go for the relegation sale. I'm going to put it out there. I'm not buying one this year. A little bit out of principle. I paid them 25 quid times 3 for my plastic cards. The club's had my 75 quid. It's gone to the charity. Fair play. First time I've ever been forced to donate 75 quid to a charity, but I've done it. So I won't get a shirt this year. Fair's fair. I think that's my little protest, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick one of the retro shirts out of my bin bags full and wear one of them.
I think you've got plenty, mate. I don't think you need another one anyway. You've got plenty of kits, and if you do want to, I was going to say if you want to protest for properly, you can buy it off DHK. But no, don't do that. That's not very good.
We never heard that here at all. No. Locks never said those words on Leicester Fan TV.
Yeah, I think their ethics are quite bad as well. So don't do that. Don't do that.
All right then, Locks. Listen, thanks so much for joining. Get your views in, get your comments in. Locks, when are you live this week on your show?
It'll be Thursday this week. Yeah, I'll be back on Thursday because there's, we've actually got some stuff to talk about now. There's some transfer rumours and things like that.
Fantastic. So, and is it a set time, Locks, or is it the usual? I'll start at this time.
Yeah. No, it's quite often 6:30. We'll say 6:30. 6:30 it is.
Lovely. We'll join Locks on Thursday around 6:30ish. Get your cup of tea or your actual tea ready, and join Jamie on Sunday morning. I think he's still on his 9:30 starts. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. I'll let Locks go. Thank you so much for that. See you next time. Thanks for all your views and all your comments. We can't do it without it. If you're watching this live, give us a like. Thank you so much for those of you that have. If you can, just before we wrap up, give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscribe on YouTube. We're always looking for more people to follow us. But Chris says, thanks for a good show tonight. Chris, thank you for all your comments. I wouldn't want the shirts gifts. Chris, you've been quite antsy tonight. You had a bad week. Come on, England are through. We should be on top of the world. Lewis won the F1 yesterday. We should be happy. Crikey, we might even win Wimbledon. Well, yeah, let's not get carried away in there. Bye, says Richie. Thank you for that. Ben, God, I'll be hungover as after the England game. Well, you never know. It could go all the way, couldn't it? Maybe we'll get to a final. We've not even got to that. I'll see you next Monday when, who knows? Maybe we'll have got through a semi-final, just won a final for England. But we're more interested in the Leicester news. So thanks a lot. Thanks for Reedy for setting the show up. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Cheers all.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, Everards, Barlow Blinds, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Distillers Direct, Hollogram, Take Me, Newby Co, The Fox's Arms and Rainbows. Run by the fans, for the fans. Follow us on socials at Leicester Fan TV and visit leicesterfantv.com for all the latest news, views and videos.